Well, another Christmas ep, and as you can see, we haven't changed clothes because we don't care that much, but that's all right.
You don't care that much.
No, I really don't. But I guess the one thing we do a lot. I mean, everyone knows us for our reviews and everything like that. But I think the one thing we don't mention a lot is the fact that we do a lot of conventions.
Yeah.
So we've obviously played a lot of BAM in the last few weeks, and there's a lot of conventions that we attended throughout this year. So there was Lego, or Brickvention, Continuum, which is one I think you gave a talk at.
Yeah. I was actually hosting and part of a few panels at Continue, which was really interesting because it's something really different. It's a future sci-fi kind of style and very small, which is slightly different to what we've kind of been covering with other ones, such as we went to Armageddon, we went to...
well, there was Conquest in that smaller kind of style, and I don't know, like it's... we'll cover the big ones, I think, at the end, but I don't know, it seems that they seem to be really kind of taking off, these smaller ones. Like there's the live-action role-playing group, there's heaps of people that, I guess, have little clubs and have like niche communities. I mean, particularly you could even say the fighting game, like the BAM and Shadowloo Showdowns. They're a kind of a niche community, but they're fairly close knit because of it. I mean, Manfay Fest, or Manfay Fest, I should say. I shouldn't call it Manfay Fest, but I mean, I don't know. It seems like there's lots of things. I mean, even in Melbourne alone, not including the rest of it, that people can get involved in.
It's really nice because it's nice to have that transition from meeting people on the internet, on the forums, and then meeting them in real life and being able to engage in activities you really enjoy in that generally perhaps your family and your other friends don't enjoy. Yeah. So I guess that's a really good thing.
It's something you can't relate to with people who you're already close with. So you find a new group of people who you're close. You know what I mean? Like you've got your friends from here and your friends from there. At least it's something different. I don't know. I don't know. Look, it could be good, and I guess encourages people to check it out. I mean, there's plenty of stuff going around that you may or may not be interested. You're only going to know if you go, and normally the price of entry isn't exactly exorbitant. So. No. Anyway, I'll tell you what, let's go on to it now. We'll start playing some of the old clips from this year, from different events we went to, and maybe one will tickle people's fancy. Not a euphemism, but...
Now I'm here with Jim. Jim is the president of Conquest and has been for quite some time, I believe. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us exactly about Conquest and really what it covers?
Conquest is a games convention, so we like to try and cover as many forms of games as our venue will allow us to have. We tend to have a lot of role-playing games, but also freeforms, some CCGs, some board games, some miniatures, essentially anything we can fit in. Unfortunately, being a heritage building, we can't run a LAN, which is something we would love to have. So if anyone has a portable LAN, come and tell us.
Now, how does Conquest lie with the other conventions? I guess, where does it stand in comparison to them?
We're the second oldest convention in Melbourne. We started in '89. I'd say we're arguably the second largest. Our demographics are slightly different to the largest one. I think we're a fairly family-orientated event, as opposed to the others, which tend to be a sort of older demographic.
How many people or volunteers are actually involved with Conquest?
Not enough. Probably about 12 at any given year. It would be a lot easier if it was closer to 15, but that's just the nature of things. You can always use more hands.
Has Conquest changed over the years that you've been around, and in what ways has it changed?
It's changed vastly over the years. Different games come and go from style and so forth, so some things which were massive influences on our budget even 5 years ago are virtually non-existent now. But also we've changed venue twice because of size changes and things. The demographic of the people attending has changed because back in the late 80s, early 90s, it wasn't quite so easy to role play online the way you can now, and that changes the group coming, essentially.
Has Conquest currently got a theme, or has it had a theme in the past?
Our theme runs as far as our artwork, in that we try to keep our artwork reasonably consistent throughout that given year, but we don't want to impose anything that will affect our writers, so we avoid a theme for game styles and things like that. We like to try and make ourselves available for anybody who wants to run a game. We will help them host it. And if that game doesn't fit a theme,
What kind of support do you guys get from, say, clubs or businesses or just other people in general? in
It
general?
does. It does. Quite a few people will give us, some of the traders, for example, will give us freebies to put in our show bags and things like that. Others will support with direct prize support for the different tournaments. As far as people, there are a few people who will work essentially for nothing more than a guitar for the whole 12 months just to set everything up, which is fairly amazing, really.
Where would you like to see Conquest, I suppose, evolve or change into over the coming years?
I'd like to see, the last couple of years I've been trying to encourage more of a fandom orientated basis, so we've been trying to expand more into cosplay and things that are more orientated towards, I guess, more classical forms of fandom. I'd like to see it go a little bit further that way, but essentially I want that to happen in order to allow more people to embrace the games that are going on, and they just seem like a natural market.
Well, I suppose time will tell exactly where Conquest's going to go, so thank you very much for
That's
your
all right.
time.
Thank you for
and
coming.
I guess we'll find out exactly where it's going to be next year.
Okay. Weird and Retro back for another week, and I'm looking down here, and this looks a little bit modern for retro, so maybe it's a little bit weird.
Well, actually, it's both. If you look within, you will see both weird and retro.
Because 2010, there were actually 2 Halo games released. Now, everyone knows Reach, but not everyone
Great game. by the
everyone
way.
remembers this.
No.
Now, it's not what you see here, it's what's inside that counts.
That's right. We are, of course, referring to Halo 2600.
Now,
Weird and retro.
I was going to say, yeah, you didn't miss 2,596 sequels. Now, this game is for the Atari 2600.
Or VCS, as some people know.
Now, this is an old system, so yes, as you said, definitely retro.
Definitely retro. It's a neo-retro game, what I like to call.
Neo-retro.
Neo-retro.
I like
So
that.
it's a new game for an old system. Did I just coin a term? I don't know. We'll check that out with Wiki. But yeah, this was released. This was made by Ed Fries.
Now, Ed, he was around Xbox when they first
Yep.
acquired Bungie, so, he's loved Halo for a long time, and he decided, I'm going to make a game for myself.
An awesome game. An action-adventure game for the Atari 2600 video computer system.
Now, probably not the graphics you're used to seeing in a Halo game.
No,
up
better.
here.
Well, if you okay, maybe not better, but certainly different in all its 8-bit glory.
Oh, and what bits they've got. Pixels big enough to fit your fist in. Now, it has all the Halo things we know and love. You've got your energy rifles, you've got your little grunts.
Yep.
And, you run around getting different weapons, shooting.
First, you have to go screen up and actually get the
There's a
pistol.
tip out there.
Otherwise, you'll be running around with shooting blanks basically. So yeah, it's actually not bad little game. It's like for those that have played 2600 games, like adventure, cross of adventure and I'd say Berserk.
Yeah, because like in this game, you can only shoot left and right.
Yep.
So, that's a bit of a strategy element you have to use. So,
But you can shoot elites and grunts, which I'd love to see in their 2600 glory.
and it is a classic game.
Yep.
Both in terms of a classic machine and also a series.
And rarity.
Yeah, because what we have here is, if you want to play the game, if you just want to play the game, they did do a flash version. So
Yeah.
if you want to see what we're talking about without all the snow and haze, just like Channel 31 used to be before it went digital. But if you want to get your hands on one of these cartridges, they are very rare. They haven't made Atari games for many years.
Especially PAL version, but thanks to Atari Age, we managed to procure a copy.
And I think that's our retirement.
That's a little
if you want to sell one of these.
golden nest egg. Yes.
So if you see one out there, destroy it for us.
Yep.
We want this one to be as rare as possible.
Destroy them all.
Now, a lot of you out there may have played the Lego video games before, such as Lego Harry Potter, Lego Indiana Jones, so on and so forth. Believe it or not, it's built on an actual Lego concept. There is Lego out there, and there's actually conventions for it. They've been conventions in Australia for many years now. I'm here at Brickvention 2011, which is Australia's national Lego convention. It's at the Melbourne Town Hall this time around and getting a lot more publicity because it's such a prestigious thing. As you can see, there's at least, probably nearly 100 people behind me. Okay, so I'm here with David, and David actually has constructed this massive, awesome Hogwarts castle behind me, which is really amazing. How many bricks did that take?
Yeah, approximately 15,000 bricks over a time of 300 plus hours.
Okay, fair enough. I imagine there wouldn't really have been instructions for that. So how did you actually construct the castle?
Yeah, well, I took images off the internet and sketched a little bit and went with my own imagination.
Now, Lego starts with very small things, but ends up with very gigantic creations, such as the Love Boat behind me. Now, the creator of the Love Boat is Ryan here, and you've probably spent a massive amount of time creating something with such detail on it, because you've actually got half the boat done, and the other half is the full inside of the boat. How long did it take you?
Around about 6 months, give or take. I would tend to work on it on weekends, rainy days, all of that kind of stuff. I also got a couple of young kids who love to help their dad too, so all's good.
Many hands make light work, I suppose.
Absolutely, they do, yeah, particularly with something like this anyway.
Okay, is this your first major project, or have you done others before?
I'm actually a professional Lego builder, so I build large models for a living, so things in store displays, all of that kind of stuff. Last year I built a really big Qantas Airbus, a giant plane. The year before that I built an 8-foot high Eiffel Tower, so big models are kind of my thing.
Fair enough. Is there much of a scene for Lego professionals?
I'm number 12 in the world, so there's not many of us. I'm the only one in the Southern Hemisphere. Wow. So I've kind of got the coolest job in the world. I get to build with Lego for a living. So.
You've got the market somewhat cornered, haven't you?
Something like that, yeah. There's not too many of us, yeah.
Now I'm here with Tim, who's got, what have we got behind us here? There's a lot of things here.
It's sort of a Lego recreation of the town of Ararat, really, so which is somewhere in rural Victoria. I don't know, I'm a Queenslander, but you know.
Fair enough.
Somewhere out there.
In terms of the online community behind Lego, is it a very strong online community, like forums and blogs and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's extremely strong. There's quite a few forums out there covering sort of different themes and areas of interest, and of course quite a lot of blogs, of which the Brothers Brick is by far the biggest and most popular. So that's one I actually write for. And we pull in something, I can't remember the exact figures, but 3 million viewers a year or readers a year.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. And I mean, that's because the way we've sort of targeted is just highlighting great models from out there. Or great models with great photographs, actually. So it probably appeals to a lot of the people reading would probably not own any Lego sets or, you know, since childhood, but check it out for sort of, you know, if they've got a passing interest. So.
That, in a sense, was Brickvention 2011. Now, we're here on the private day. The public day, which is the day after, which obviously you won't see by the time it's recorded, is a lot larger in terms of its sheer crowd. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds of people walking through the door, checking out exactly what people have got here. Personally, I do enjoy the fact that there's a lot of powered stuff here. I didn't expect so many things to have lights in them, to have machines in them, or to have magnets in them, some of them as well, kind of making them work the way they do. Now, I'm going to bring a little budding competition to the challengers out there who want to do something. Now, I've got a Lego logo behind me. I want to see a level 3 logo made out of Lego. Doesn't need to be big, just means whatever there is. If you can get one of those, take a photo, send it in, or if you feel like mailing it to us, you're more than welcome to get a mailing address somehow, I don't know. We'll think of some kind of prize up for you. I say, why not? It'll be something different. Get involved in Lego. It's going to be bigger and better next year as well, and we'll definitely be here to let you know exactly what there's going to be. Now, I'm not exactly in my Sunday best. There's a particular reason for this. I am here with Phil, one of the co-founders of Swordcraft, and there's a potential I could be getting involved myself, which could be a lot of fun, but we'll find out what it is first. To start, what exactly is Swordcraft?
So Swordcraft is basically like a new live-action battle game that we've created. If you can sort of think about like LARPing as kind of like role playing where you wander around and play a character and fight monsters and that sort of thing. This is more like a tabletop game, so kind of like Warhammer Fantasy Battle, that sort of thing, but basically played out on a field of battle. At the moment, we're doing like every Tuesday night sort of thing, getting together, just kind of playing on an oval, but we're also going to be going to more interesting locations, like there's a scout camp we're going to be using with like a wooden tower and that sort of thing. So it's basically like battles where we can use terrain, we use it. People dress up in armor and things like this, and basically like the sort of weapons we use are these realistic looking but soft, squishy kind of things. And they've got a solid core, so they can actually, you can kind of give someone a little bit of a whack with them, but they don't hurt too much.
So Swordcraft hurts less than paintball?
Oh yeah, definitely less than paintball. You do sometimes come away with a few bruises, but yeah, nothing like paintball.
How long has Swordcraft actually existed for, and where is it held?
So it's only been running now this is our 5th week. So yeah, we only started very, very recently. We run our games in Royal Park, so we've got an oval at Poplar Oval in Royal Park. We've got like a pavilion, we've got lights at night to play, and in terms of the weekend games that we're going to be doing them mostly kind of in bushland around Melbourne.
What are the rules behind Swordcraft? You do mention that it is a game.
Yep. So you usually have 2 or more teams competing for some kind of battlefield objective. So whether it's something simple like capture the flag, or something a bit more complex, like you might have a hostage that needs to be rescued, you might have one group has got a treasure chest or something like that, which needs to be taken, up to far more complicated kind of linear sort of scenarios where one team might be doing one thing against another team in one battle and then another thing kind of like working towards their fort, for example, and then the last battle might be actually taking the fort, that sort of thing. And we're going to be building in more interesting storylines as well. So basically kind of creating narration around the sort of things that happen. In terms of the combat rules and that sort of thing, like you basically hit someone, and if you hit someone a certain number of times, they go down and they're out of the game. If you're wearing lots of armour, like I am at the moment, makes it harder to move around in, and you're all clanky because it is made out of metal, so you get more armour points. So that means you can basically take more hits.
How easy is it for someone to actually get involved in Swordcraft?
It's really, really easy. We've got a Facebook group at the moment, just called Swordcraft. It's pretty easy to search and pretty easy to join. We've got details of where we meet and everything. It's simply just a matter of rocking up. If you're under 18, then you need to contact us beforehand to get a parental permission form. Apart from that, it's pretty much just rock up and come and play. We've got plenty of foam swords for people to use, and some tabards and things like that to distinguish the team. So you don't actually need anything at all to play to start with. But of course, if you're going to be coming along lots and lots, then it makes sense to buy your own gear.
Now, what sort of people is this kind of geared towards? Who would be interested in playing Swordcraft?
Well, I mean, we'd like to think that anyone at all would be up for playing it. But I guess what we're thinking is people who really like doing things like playing computer games, people who like tabletop gaming, people who like role-playing, people who like fantasy stuff, people who like medieval stuff. This actually gives you just a chance to actually go and live a battle. So it's all well and good to be banging away on your console, but I must admit, since I've started doing this, I have hardly played my PlayStation at all. It's just there's something really special about whacking somebody with a big hammer.
Where do you see Swordcraft in the future, or rather, where do you want to see Swordcraft go in the future?
Right, so right now we're literally running things once a week on an oval, which is all well and good. The next phase, I guess, is to be running these weekend events in the more interesting locations. If we can get enough people involved, eventually we'd like to be able to have like a medieval village where we have things every single weekend, and then like have festivals every year with kind of like thousands of people engaged in really big battles. That's our dream. And then if we can get to that stage, maybe even kind of the next level would be having like a regular like camps where like teenagers can come along for a week and basically be involved in kind of like a medieval week where they fight battles and all that sort of stuff. So, but we'll see how we go. You never know. We might end up staying small, but the more people get involved, the larger we can grow it.
Well, it certainly sounds like an interesting experience. If that's where you see it going, it's going to be a lot of fun for people, especially in the future and even now. But we'll end the questions there. I want to have fun. I want to get hit a lot. So thank you so much for your time. And let's see how we go.
Well, I mean, that's some of the events that we've kind of covered, the smaller events that we've covered, but we've also done some coverage we did EB Expo, Armageddon, Supernova, and these are all the bigger cons that come back here, and not all of them are really gaming related necessarily. I mean, we've done gaming interviews at Armageddon and things, but I mean, what do we spend most of our time at Armageddon doing?
I can't remember.
Yeah?
I think standing around looking pretty.
Yeah, well, that's what we do best. But, I mean, EB Expo, we were crazy busy. We were like,
That was intense.
That was intense, and they really nailed that. So I think it's coming down to Sydney next year, so it might be worth the trip up. As much as I don't like to give EB any credit, they really nailed it, that one. But, I mean, there's also Oz Comic Con, which just got announced recently. You've mentioned Oz Comic Con in the past.
Yeah, the strange thing is it's going to Adelaide first, so I don't know how I think there's the one guy that was bringing Oz Comic Con to Australia. I think he's based in Adelaide, so he took it to Adelaide first.
Hometown
So
advantage, yeah.
it's a pretty big haul for Adelaide because I'm afraid Adelaide's a little bit of a hole. Like there's not
Well, it's one
much going
street.
on, but it's really good because Adelaide has AVCon, which is an anime convention, much like Manifest, but it was actually always more gaming related. So all the gamers always went to Adelaide. So
But I mean, the big thing with Oz Comic Con is the names who are showing up
there's
to
some
Adelaide.
huge names, yeah.
Stan Lee, which is huge in itself. Only comic book kids, Stan Lee. I mean, say what you want about Marvel, but Stan Lee. Patrick Stewart. Now, have I ever told you how Patrick Stewart is nerd royalty? So not only was he Xavier, King Arthur, he's in American Dad. He's the voice of one of the septums in Oblivion. I think it was Uriel Septim. Anyway, point is, that's all pretty nerdy points. That's saying, oh yeah, he definitely knows the demographic. I mean, obviously Jean-Luc Picard. How could I forget that? Anyway, but the big one is the Monty Python crew said if they were ever to get back together, and which is never going to happen, and they were ever to try and fill in Graham Chapman's place, it would be Patrick Stewart. That is nerd royalty. That is the king of the nerds. So, look, I mean, that's a story for another day, but I just think that...
Enjoy the Lion Fest.
But in Adelaide...
I know, that's why it's probably worth going, just because the lines might not be that long in Adelaide compared to Melbourne, because the lines were... And this isn't
Well, that'll be straight,
fault.
because it's only one street. Anyway. What?
I know, but the lines might be actually smaller in Adelaide than they were in Melbourne, because the lines at Armageddon, now this isn't Armageddon's fault, were really long.
Were monstrous.
So if you're kind of looking for a quick ticket to see, all these people, it's probably worthwhile going to Adelaide, because it's cheap. It's cheap airfares because no one goes there.
Yeah, no one goes there.
So they need to fill the flights.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's...
Well,
it's
why
all
do they
good.
even have flights? Anyway, look, long story. We could stop picking on Adelaide, but
Yeah.
the point is there's lots of stuff to get involved in, lots of stuff that...
The cons are
Australia's
getting more every year, and with such big cons coming over, it can only get more fun.
Exactly. Do you think?
Yes, don't forget, check us out, level3.org.au, Facebook, Twitter. Join us on RC, join us on the forums. Jason.
She does that too well. It's like we've rehearsed. It's about the only thing that's rehearsed on the show, really.
Yeah.
It's not even rehearsed. It's just...
It's like, do it.
We'll see you kids next time.